Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Habs Tonight. I am Dale Weise. I am on the pregame show for the first time, and I'm very excited to be joined by my one and only brother, Derrick.
How's everybody doing?
I don't know how often this is going to happen, and obviously joined by Annik, which I'm very excited to work with again. How is everybody?
Hi, guys.
Oh, we're good.
Yeah, exciting one tonight. Off a back-to-back, obviously not the best game against Ottawa. You take that one, you throw it out the window, and we're on the road now. A building that we've had some success in, and once again, I'm saying we, because we here at Habs tonight feel like we're a part of the team. Yeah, I know, right? So, what do you guys think? What do you guys think tonight? What are you thinking?
Well, I mean, they're on the road. They're not, maybe they're all going to get together, get a little bit of chemistry going on the road again, and I think a few guys break out tonight for sure.
I mean, we've had some decent success versus Edmonton this season. We've shut down McDavid and Draisaitl a couple of times. I don't want to jinx it, so I'm gonna shut up right there. But no, I'm expecting kind of a decent game, a bounce back from Saturday for sure. The boys know they were flat, and bounce back game.
Yeah, I agree. We were just discussing it. When you look at it, Derrick, tell me the stats again on Draisaitl and McDavid on the head-to-head this year.
They both have 2 assists.
Yeah, that to me, I don't know if that's a good thing or if that's a scary thing. I don't know if that's their due for a breakout game or Montreal has it figured out, because when you watch them on the regular and you look at these guys' stats, there isn't many teams that have that figured out. So which one do you think it is?
You never know, right? Because they're starting to heat up. A couple of the games were at the beginning of the season. Everyone's trying. Now they have McDavid, Draisaitl, same line. They're both on the power play. They're going to probably play upwards to 25, 26 minutes. If they get that defensive matchup there with the last line change, things could go south.
Yeah, Nick, what's your take on it? I know the lineup changes tonight. There was a little line jingling up front. Anderson goes on to the first line, which is obviously well-deserved, and Paulie B's dropping down to the third. What do you think of the lineup tonight?
I'm excited to see Anderson on the first line with Tatar and Danault. I mean, we all know that Ducharme has the reputation lately of switching up the lines, a kind of a clusterfuck, like we've been saying during the games. So I don't know. I'm excited to see what Anderson's going to do in the first line. Drouin obviously moving to the third, and defensive pairing seems to be the same thing. So I guess we were kind of expecting to see Gustafsson and Merrill in the lineup. So I don't know what's the holdup with that. We were talking earlier today. Is it because of the quarantining? Did they get to Edmonton later on? So excited to see where they're going to fit in the lineup as well. And Price starting. So your number one goalie in net. He's due for a good game. He had a good game on Saturday regardless. So,
right. And I was wondering about the quarantine thing too. I wonder how much ice time they've really had in the week, and did they get to Montreal right away when they were traded? I don't know the logistics behind it. So I'm interested to see. I think obviously, you want to get a couple skates in and kind of, learn the structure of the defense system. I know when you go to a new team, it's kind of a lot going on. You want to get a practice in at least. And I don't know how your conditioning is in a week like that. So It's going to be interesting. And Derrick, I want to throw this to you. Anderson to me brings a lot of what Brendan Gallagher does. It's a very similar player. It's north-south. You know what you're getting from him. He's a big body in the corner. I don't want to say that Phil and Tuna have struggled when Gally hasn't been in the lineup, but he brings something to that line that just really makes it tick. Do you think Anderson could be that ingredient that they need?
I think just he's going to be crash and bang out there, which might give these guys that extra space to really, get to do what they do. He's on the number one power play too, so he's gonna get the ice time. If he gets a quick one early, he's gonna get going. And I mean, some of these defensemen on Edmonton, like Nurse, Tyson Barrie. Who else is there? Chris Russell, and then those 2 young guys on their third pair. If you can really hammer down on them early, anything can happen, right?
Yeah, I think when I look at the games from early in the year, I think that was a key for them. They went into Edmonton, and I'm pretty sure it was 3 in a row, and it was just really solid, consistent efforts where they got in the forecheck, they hemmed him in the zone, and a lot of shifts that McDavid and Draisaitl had, they were in their D zone. And as an offensive guy, as is, the top scorers in the league, they don't want to play in their D zone. They want to be going north, south, east, west. They want to be flying. And I really think Montreal is going to come with a stronger effort tonight. Like I said, Ottawa it's back to back. You throw that one out. But the gap is closing here, Nick. I'm going to throw this to you. There's games in hand, but you got to win these games. They had the big gap of 4 or 5 games in hands, and we haven't won these. So, what's the game plan going forward here? We got to win these games.
I think a huge part of the game too is going to be figuring out our power play. We've been missing so many chances just to get ahead, just with power plays. Look at with Ottawa on Saturday, we had 3 power plays where we could barely get established in their zone. So I think once we figure that out, the special units out, actually, it's going to be huge for us, because you don't score, you don't get anything, right? So hoping we figure that out tonight. We had a bit of a bounce back when Burrows came in and started switching things around. And I think, Derrick, you have the lineup for the power play tonight. Stahl is out, I believe.
Yeah, you got KK, Perry, and Anderson on the top with Drouin and Webbs on the back for PP1.
Okay.
And Armia, Toffoli, Suzuki, Tatar, and the beautiful man on the back end for PP2.
Oh, that's a beautiful second power play. It's absolutely beautiful.
I think
I find our second unit's been almost playing better than the first lately. So why not switch it up? What do you think about that?
I agree. I think it's kind of like a 1-1A situation where the best guys got to play. You mentioned when Burr came in and took it over, and they had some instant success. And the way teams coach in the NHL, they're so good at watching video. I don't know what Burr's exactly putting into the power play. I know in Laval when he was running it, it was pretty simple. And it was very, very effective down there. And obviously it was effective in the first couple of games. Every guy knows their outlets. Where every guy is, there's always 3 options. That's kind of how he worked it. And I thought it was brilliant. And, for whatever reason, the power play struggled a little bit lately. But, it could be just throwing a guy like Anderson in there where he's going to get in on the forecheck. Against Ottawa, I didn't think they had a lot of clear entries. And I don't think Montreal is a strong team. A strong enough team, that can really put the puck in and get it back. When I look at their roster, I don't see a team that's going to win a lot of battles and get pucks back. That's not what I've seen lately. So I think Anderson's going to add that element on the first power play where he's going to get in there, win some battles, release some pressure, get it out along the walls, and try to go from there.
Would it
for sure
too far out of just to suggest it? Maybe have Weber slide down on that wing if you really get control and get that slapper from like the top of the circle as opposed from like out at the blue line.
Yeah, I mean, I think they got to try some different things. It has looked a little stale lately. I just don't see a lot of creativity with it. So that's something on a team that's not scoring very much lately and not scoring 5-on-5 recently. They got to find a way to score on the power play and really start gaining momentum with it. At least if you don't score, at least go out there and you have some chances and you got some momentum and everybody starts feeling
up.
right, especially early. Guys like Drouin that are skilled guys, you get some touches early, you start to feel it. That's when you start to build your game and feeling good about yourself, and that's going to be key tonight.
I find too.
Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. I was going to say, a huge part of it too is, what about the face-offs? We're losing a lot of face-offs. Like right where we get a power play, we clear it. Face-offs are a huge part of it. Are we missing somebody who can take it? Do we need a Manny Manholtra specialist type of thing?
I know, and you have that on the bench and Phil Deneau, and it's something, not a lot of teams do, but it's something maybe you want to tweak with. I think Phil's very capable of playing on the power play. I think he'd be very successful, and he's their best face-off man. So, if getting control and you're having trouble with entries, those face-offs become so much more key. And you need to get the puck first if you can't enter the zone, and they seem to have some issues with entries. So hopefully they shake things up and that'll be the answer tonight.
You possibly see them come out, take the draw, and then get right off.
I mean, you could essentially. I don't know if you really want to do that, but it would be an interesting play for sure.
Well, because then maybe
you could try it in overtime. He's been trying it a few times in overtime, putting Deno to take the draw and then try to take out, and it hasn't worked out really, right?
Yeah, so I don't know if he's willing to do that on the power play. I think you got to just trust your guys and you know, kind of go from there. Like at some point, the power play is going to start to kick in here. I like I said, when Burr came in, I love the success they had early, and I think it's just a matter of time. And you know, as cliche as it is, I think they just got to simplify things a little bit. I think Anderson adds a big body in front of the net. You got to give him something to work with. Put some pucks there. Let him win some battles. He's very successful in there.
So with Anderson in front, you're gonna have Perry on the flank.
I think Perry might play in the slot maybe as a right-handed shot. I think you know, you're gonna have Drew coming down the right side as a left shot. Perry's in the slot as a righty. I think he's a good option. He scored a few goals in his career in the slot, I think. Hey,
he's been all right.
Just a few.
You know what? It leads me to a good point here. Let me see oh, sorry. I'm going to jump on Deeksy here. Should they use the draw pass less? Why has it been used so much? Yeah. So Burr's big thing is kind of
crazy.
Vancouver used it a ton. The Sedins loved it, and Burrows loves it. I think they have the guys to utilize that. They haven't shown it a lot lately. And I think it kind of goes hand in hand with their timing. When I watch their breakouts, and they do the exact same breakout we did in Laval, I just think when guys are struggling and they haven't scored, your timing is kind of off on everything, and you start jumping ahead of the play, and you're trying to get in there too quick. And you know, when you're using the drop pass on the breakout, it's really all about timing, and you want to have some space. You want to have some speed coming up with the puck, but you want to have a huge gap. So those penalty killers, okay, they got to respect your speed. You're coming up their back. And then when you drop it back, you have so much space to build, and you have so many options. And you see really, really good teams do that have elite puck movers coming up in the second wave. It's, you know, you're almost in 100% of the time, which is half the battle, I would say. What do you guys think?
Well, you're going to have to use it against Edmonton because they got Mike Smith back there. That guy will come out and he will stop everything. He'll throw it right back up. He'll even shoot it down himself. They got those fast-moving defensemen. Against Edmonton, maybe, you know, the drop pass, go in, quick delay, and try and set up quick. But I don't think you're dumping in against them.
Right. No, I agree. He's almost like a third defenseman back there.
He's,
you know, if not one of the best puck handlers in the league as a goaltender. I don't know. You know, there's a couple guys that are right there. I think he's at the top of the list. The way he handles it.
You get after it today.
Yeah, let's. I like you getting bold there, Derrick. Let's get after it here. What do you think happens tonight? Give us a prediction here. What do you see happening?
As I was just kind of looking over the past games that they've played, I mean, like guys like Lecky's had a couple good games against them. I think Druin gets shit on a little too much. Like he has as many points as Anderson. It's just he's not scoring. So it's there. It's only a matter of time. But I think tonight, if you can get on Smith early, let Perry get in there, do his thing, might see a goalie fight. I mean, hey. I don't know. You never know.
Annik, what do you think tonight?
Prediction wise,
what do you see happening tonight?
3-2 Montreal overtime.
Oh, an overtime win.
Win.
Wow.
They played with OT.
I'm going bold tonight.
That's really bold. I think that they come back with a better effort tonight. You know, I think when you look at the standings, and everybody's looking at the standings right now, and you know you have some huge games against Calgary coming up. You got to start winning some games, or at least getting some points on the board here, because that gap, like I said, is closing so quickly, and it's not a good feeling when you limp into the playoffs. I don't think that's the way they want to go into it if you're going to get in. So, you know, when I look at the team, and let's go 5-on-5 right now and just break it down a little bit. You know, they're trying to roll four lines. They're trying to mix things up. And I think a lot of guys are just struggling at the same time. And that's a really, really tough thing to deal with. And, you know, I keep saying it, but I just feel like there's going to be a game where not everybody's going to get on the board, but a lot of guys are going to break out. And that's kind of all you need is one game where a couple guys get some touches and then you kind of build on it. I just, you know, I don't know if there's the past couple of games where you can say they've had those efforts where you feel like guys are about to break out, but it's got to happen eventually here. No,
something
Oh,
off
for
a
sure.
pipe or like throw it out of the
Just
corner.
a greasy goal.
just
Anything,
something, just something. And when I was watching the Ottawa game, I didn't see a lot of second chances, you know, and,
No.
and I'm not saying guys aren't getting to the areas for those second chances, but when you haven't scored, you kind of like start to veer off to other areas, and you know, you're shooting pucks you probably wouldn't, and you know, outside of Brendan Gallagher, that guy can score from anywhere. I don't think there's a lot of guys that can score from the corner and behind the nets. So, you know, they got to find ways to just get into those high traffic areas and try to get some chances. And I think against a team like Edmonton, where you know, I think their weak point is their back end. I think they got to attack their D tonight and try to sustain some offensive zone time.
Oh, for sure. I mean, you've got a Mike Smith who just has a tendency of standing on his head against us. So obviously you're going to have to just keep shooting and hope something comes in. You're not going to get the perfect play against him. That's for sure. And that, I find a lot of the things that we were trying to do on Saturday too, is just trying to get the perfect play half the time. Just go back to basics.
Mm-hmm.
Just even the passing, like, I don't know if you noticed on Saturday, the passing wasn't crisp at all. It was just like, we were having trouble doing like a 10-foot pass.
And I think when I watch it, it's just, I don't know if it's because they're struggling, but I just feel like they're just lacking a little bit of a spark. And I don't know if they're, you know, waiting for something to come in and you know, Deeksy's just waiting for me to say they're waiting for Caulfield to come in and bring a spark. But you know what I'm saying, Derrick? Like they just feel like they're just waiting for something to happen.
Are you saying a fight off the opening draw? Maybe a line brawl? Would you know anything about that?
I don't know if that's a little old school, and I don't want to say that's where you need to get it going, but I just feel like there's just something early in a game that needs to happen. Maybe Anderson's got to come out and just absolutely smash somebody. And you know, you could see at the end of last game he's frustrated. He took a penalty late in the game there. You know, like come out early in the game and let's bring something and let's show everybody that we're into it. I don't know. I'm not going to say there needs to be a fight because I'm never the guy that says there needs to be a fight, but I just feel like they need some spark early.
Just
Hit
everybody.
Sorry, go ahead.
Hit everything that moves. Just get involved, right?
For sure. But I'm going to say, as a former player, Dale, what's one thing that if you're on the bench right now and you're thinking to yourself as well, like, we need a spark, we need something, what's something on the bench that you guys talk about of let's come out, and what's the spark you guys discuss? Is it we need a big hit? Is it somebody's got to drop the gloves? What is it you guys talk about?
Right. So that's something that I would love to talk about in the room. That's kind of, you know, I made a career of being that guy, getting the voice going in the room, getting the boys pumped up. And, you know, you never really say someone needs to get in a fight, but it's something you discuss as the boys. Like, man, we got to come out tonight and someone's got to get after it early here. Like, you know, you're not going to say it directly. And everybody on the team knows, you know, obviously who that guy is or who those guys are.
Yeah.
But everybody kind of looks for a guy to come in and bring a spark if that's what you bring. And, you know, to me, that's what Josh Anderson brings. So yeah. I would say he's the guy that comes out and gets in somebody's face. And like I said, it doesn't have to be a fight, but, you know, a guy like Darnell Nurse, come out and smash him in the first period, you know, he's going to come looking for you. And that's when you get guys chasing you. And maybe that's the spark they need here, because it's just when things aren't going well and you're not scoring and the frustration's starting to build, that's the easiest way to kind of get it out and get yourself pumped up. And I think that's, you know, if that happens early, look out. I think they come away with 2 points tonight.
For sure. And I mean, you're taking a look at Anderson too. We're saying, obviously, we don't want any fights and such, or if that's what it takes, I mean, that's what it takes. But you take a look at Ben Sherratt, who dropped the gloves, broke his hand. Is that something you're willing to risk with guys like Anderson or anybody actually on a team so close to the playoffs too? Are you willing to risk to pump up the boys with a fight and lose a player long term?
I think that's a great point. And, you know, you never want somebody to break their hand, and it's something, injuries happen in fights. Obviously you're getting punched in the face, you're punching helmets. It's very likely that something happens, but, you know, being a hockey player that's been in plenty of fights, it's never something that really crosses your mind. You know, you're more thinking of what you can do to provide a spark for the team and get the boys going. But, you know, on the other side, as a fan, I'm definitely like, well, is this a good trade-off? Who's he fighting? Should he be doing this right before the playoffs? But, if they don't get a spark and they don't start winning games here, there's not going to be a playoffs.
Back to
You said it.
The Drouin thing here, but like if he comes out and scores right away, like that's everybody on the bench has got to be excited for that guy, right?
Yeah, that's a spark like that even would be something, for a guy that struggling, he hasn't scored in a while. He comes and gets one, that brings the team up. Or your fourth line goes out and a guy like Lecky scores, or they have a great shift, and it's just something like that can spark you, and the team can build off that. And it's something that has to happen early. You can't just kind of dip your toe in the water in the first period and well, we're 0-0, we're doing okay. Like they got to come and be abrasive and really take the game to them early.
Well, if you get two or three in the first period, Mike Smith has fallen apart and had complete meltdowns before. So anything and everything, throw it on the net early and go get greasy. Don't try and be too fancy today.
Absolutely.
Sorry, go ahead.
Nope. All you.
No, I was going to say, you've seen it too, where I lost my point of what I was saying. Go ahead. I'll figure it out.
I was going to say, guys, be sure to subscribe. Obviously, we got different people on our pregame shows and postgame shows. And this Weise Wednesday, I want to throw a quick plug in for Knuckles Nyland coming on with me and Brando. This is going to be a great interview. A guy that reached out to me when I first came to Montreal, and we've been buddies ever since. And obviously, if you're a Montreal Canadiens fan, you're going to love this. I want to get him to tell some stories maybe you haven't heard. I know he's pretty out there. And what was the Gladiators movie, or what was it called? The Last Gladiator, or whatever it is. He's in there quite a bit. Say it again.
Ice Guardians.
Yeah, that was what it was, right?
Ice
and
Guardians.
yeah, close enough. So I can't wait to talk to him. I know he's going to be great. And also right now, if anybody has questions, be sure we want to talk to you. We want to break it down. And if anybody's willing to come on and chat with us, we would love to hear your point of view. And what do you think about tonight?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I just figured it out. Sorry. Brain fart. No, I was going to say we're the type of team too lately that if you take a look at the stats, if we don't score first, I feel like we have this monkey on our backs and the immense pressure of playing with the tight stick and just freaking out at everything. They have trouble bouncing back compared to getting the first goal. And Derrick, like you said, you have a tendency of scoring a few on Mike Smith and he breaks down.
Mm-hmm.
So, just wanted to get your take on how it was when you guys were down 1-0. Like, how's the pressure on the guys? Is it a mentality of, holy crap, we need to play catch-up hockey? Or is it we have a lot of time left type of mentality?
Yeah, you know what? When I watch them play, it reminds me exactly of 2016 when things were really starting to go south for us. And I'm sure a lot of people don't want to hear that, but I'm just going to give a reference here. It was tough because we couldn't score 5-on-5. Our power play wasn't great. And we're sitting there in games, and if we get down 1-0, it's almost the end of the world, and it changes everything. If you get down 2, it's game over. We were not coming back. And then all of a sudden, if we scored the first goal, we were the best team in the league. It was like we reverted back to the first when we went 9-0-1, and it was like, okay, it's just a completely different team. And I see that when I watch them, like I said, where they got to come out and they got to get something going early, and we got to get a spark, and they got to get abrasive and be involved early, because when I see them fall back, you just see the wind go out of their sails, and it's like, holy smokes, I don't know if we're going to get one tonight. And Carey or Jake, stand on your head, because we might only get one. And it's really tough to play that way. If you're a run and gun team and you get down 1-0, whatever, you keep playing the same way. But I just don't see I don't know what the word is, but when they get down, you just see that their confidence is just going out the wayside. So I really hope they come out and get the first goal tonight. You mentioned the stats where if they don't score first, it's not tipped in our favor. So I really hope they come out tonight and get that first goal. It's going to be a big difference tonight.
Well, you have back-to-back games against them too here, right? So set the tone, and then especially going into the weekend, big 3-game set against Calgary, you got to start rolling.
This is huge. This is the biggest week of the year for them, would you say?
This essentially would be win and you're in.
Yeah.
I mean,
play above 500 and you're good. Or just play some 500 and you're good.
Right. I agree.
And
so this is
I mean, we have the tendency as well to. I mean, I guess you can relate. They'll have when we play in Calgary. It's I don't know if is it the building? Is it the Western? What is it? Like there seems to be a Western curse, kind of like a San Jose curse of just not playing well in Calgary.
Yeah, I don't know so much about the building, but when I've watched Calgary this year, they're a decent team at home. Obviously the games I've seen them play in Montreal this year, it seems like a different team at home for them. Like a lot of teams that you just play better at home. A little less this year, I would think, because the fans don't really sway stuff. But you're at home, you're in your routine, you're sleeping in your bed. It's comfortable for you, so that plays a different. But I like the way Montreal has gone about their road trip this year. All their games on the road. The 3 games they played in Edmonton early in the year is something I think they need to build on. They need to say, look, we've had success. This is something we can do. We beat this team. It's not that much different of a team. Edmonton didn't make that many moves. We got to come in and start the road trip off with a win and a good, consistent, full effort where everybody's contributing and they just play a complete game. But it's got to start with a spark tonight. That's what I'm going to be looking for.
What's
You're right.
What's the final?
Yeah.
What's my final?
And who's scoring? Big.
Who's going to score? Let's go. It's been close games. I want to say 3-2, as I'm always pulling for Montreal. Let's say Anderson gets 2-1 on the power play, and beautiful man Jeff Petrie comes through with a goal. He's due for one tonight. I feel it.
Empty netter, a beautiful one from his own end.
Nope, no empty netter. It's just going to be a beautiful goal. It's going to be a sifting wrister from the point. Just a beautiful seeing eye shot.
It's like the word sifting.
Oh, all right. Do we have do we got any questions?
We don't have anybody in the inbox, but
Okay.
I'm going to pull up a few questions here from we've got one from Vincent here who says he'd like to get your opinion on Burrows and Ducharme since you were under them in Laval.
Yeah, I've heard that a lot. And yeah, so I love Alex Burrows. I thought he was great as a coach in Laval. He's a brilliant mind. He's a guy that worked his way up. So he started on the 4th line. He played on the 1st line with 2 Hall of Famers. He played on the power play. Had a very successful career as a high-end guy. And then at the end of his career, he was moving down the lineup a little bit as more of an experienced guy. So he can relate to every single guy in the lineup. And I think he's awesome. As for Ducharme, he didn't say a lot when I was there. He was extremely quiet. I don't know if he didn't want to overstep his bounds with Claude, but he really didn't say a lot. So it's hard for me to really say what I think of him as a coach. The brief conversations we had, I think he's a really good hockey mind. But I didn't see enough or hear enough to really give a real opinion on him.
And is it normal for, I guess, I'll phrase it like this. Is it normal to have an assistant coach that is so quiet, or are you used to having guys like Luke Richardson? Is he more active behind the bench?
Yeah. So we had there was Kirk, and then there was Luke.
Kirk. Yeah.
Kirk would talk to the forwards along with Claude, and then Luke would talk to the D-man. Nobody would talk to the D but Luke. So Dom didn't really say much. Like, when I got asked about it earlier, and we've talked about it, like, he didn't really say anything. I heard him say like maybe 5 words on the bench. He just kind of sat there and bided his time, I think, waiting for his chance. So it was good in that sense, because a lot of times I think if you take an assistant coach, like a guy like Kirk, who was really good friends with the players and very talkative, and he was the good guy, and then you make him the head coach and you kind of got to be the asshole. It's a tough change in personalities, where Dom didn't say a lot. He was kind of quiet, had good relationship with guys, but now he can still come in and kind of rule with an iron fist. And I think that's probably the best way to go about it.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Alrighty. Do we have any more?
Yeah, we have a few here. So I'm trying to pull up a few here. We've got one from Nicholas.
Beautiful, Nicholas. Let me read through this. How hard was it when the team has to hustle them? How hard was it on you when the team has to hustle to make playoffs? It can work both ways. If you have to really grind to get in the playoffs, that's a bonus for you. When I was on Vancouver in 2011, LA battled their way into the playoffs. They had to win the last 10 games to get in. They got in as the 8th seed. We were the first, we won the President's Trophy that year. They stroked us in the first round on the way to their first Stanley Cup. So I think this is great for a team if you can really get rolling before the playoffs. You get on a roll, you find your line combos, and you really get on a roll, and you got to grind to get in there. I think that can do nothing but wonders for a team.
There seems to be a lot of repetitive questions here about Weber. We've addressed it before, especially during the trade deadline here, but there's a lot of fans asking, is Weber injured? Do you think he's playing injured? And should he be scaled down for his time? What's your take on this for those who haven't heard about it or listened to the previous videos we've posted?
Yeah, this is something that I've talked about at length, and I'll go into it again. Shea Weber's played over 1,000 NHL games. At this point in his career, at this point in this season, I'm sure the guy has some nagging injuries going on.
Yeah.
You know, I won't go into
Who
that.
wouldn't?
I won't go into too much detail about that. But, you know, regardless if he's playing with injuries, what that guy brings, I mean, I've said it 100 times. You can't replicate. He's a huge part of that dressing room. He's huge for the young guys. He's huge for the development of your prospects. He's everything you want in a leader. So Again, I don't care what he does on the ice. Or when I look at my team, I would take Shea Weber on my team any day. So that's all I'll answer that one for you guys.
No, we have a lot of Weber love on this team, that's for sure.
we love Shea Weber, and you know, obviously I've been in the dressing room with him, so I got nothing.
Yeah, you would know out of all people.
I would know for all you guys. So I'm telling you, he's awesome.
How was Gerard Gallant as an assistant coach? Would you see him as a coach in Montreal maybe in the future?
He was absolutely incredible. He was the best assistant coach that I have seen in my playing career. I think he'd be an incredible head coach. It would be outstanding. You know, Montreal lost something when they lost him. Obviously went to Vegas, had a ton of success early. And he's kind of got the raw end of the deal in Florida and then in Vegas. But he's an unbelievable coach, and you know, any team would be lucky to have him.
We have Daniel here asking, who was your favorite Hab that you've played with?
Favorite Hab that I played with? That's a tough one. There's so many guys that I played with. You know, I've said it, that 2014, 2015 teams, you know, I have friends for life on those teams. There's just so many good guys and an actual close team, like I said. So unbelievable guys. So we are actually 32 minutes in here. So we will we will leave it at that, guys. Again, make sure you join me on Weise Wednesdays for Knuckles and Island. It's going to be amazing. I will answer a ton of your questions then if we have any extras that I missed tonight. And thank you guys for tuning in. I really appreciate it. And hopefully the Habs come out with a spark like we've talked about and get the win tonight, because we definitely need it.
Need the 2 points. Yep. Thanks, everybody.
Take care, guys.
Appreciate it.